Welcome to the show. I am MMA insider and Herb Dean's dog sitter, Joey Venti, and you're listening to the MMA History Podcast, the only podcast dedicated 100% to the preservation of mixed martial arts history. Interviews and stories about the early days of MMA direct from the men who lived it. Hundreds of interviews, thousands of hours of research, all conducted by the most obsessed mind in the business, the MMA detective Mike Davis. Join us as we document the history of the sport we all love. Welcome back to the MMA History Podcast. I am Joey Venti. I'm here with the MMA detective Mike Davis, and today we have a special episode. Today is part 3 of our series on the rise and fall of EliteXC, and our guest once again is the vice president of that organization, Jared Shaw. Jared, thanks for being back.
Absolutely, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year as well. So Jared, if you really look at the timeline of where you guys are at, you're just coming off Street Certified, which is in February of 2008. It's got Tank and Kimbo. It's on Showtime. You guys draw over 500,000 viewers. And the word on the street at this time was Showtime's lying to them. It was because they didn't really want you to know how valuable you were. Right around the new year, you guys create interest with nationally televised companies, and CBS comes to the table. How does this meeting begin? Like, who connects you guys?
Showtime is owned by Viacom, so CBS is its parent company.
Okay.
So that was like the bigger play. I think it became the test. The test tube was Showtime for less at the highest level, at Moonvest level. And I think they realized this is going to be the fit for primetime. And Ken Hirschman was at the head of Showtime at that point, and he was instrumental on his side with the executive branch, and Jack Sussman, and a wonderful lady, and it's horrible. I can't remember her name right now because she was actually the other power player for CBS. I just happened to forget right now. Jody was her name. Jack and Jody represented CBS. Ken represented Showtime. And my father essentially represented us. And it was a relationship my father already had with Ken Hirschman, which was great from boxing. So the marriage of that was there. But the CBS had invested money in the entire pro elite establishment.
Wow. So they were
Showtime was always a partner. That's what they realized. I think when they went after the UFC, what they probably realized was these guys are so out there in the moon that we're not going to be able to bring that in. Why not build our own from scratch? So they were part of the ownership essentially of EliteXC.
Okay, so I'm going from memories and notes. Do you think that they may have been hiding the numbers from you guys in regards to negotiating leverage? It's entirely possible, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it would make complete sense because they were involved. They were a partner in the entire building of it.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily know why they would lie about the numbers. Maybe potentially later when the sale is going to come up, right, of the company. That was a level that I also would love to be knowledgeable on and have been privy to, but I definitely wasn't at the time. And my interest level obviously wasn't at it is now at my age, where maybe being that meeting was where I would find myself. I was listening to my father's end of a meeting, and I was dealing with fighters, with matchmaking, with promoting, and especially in the end, when the sale was really undergoing with Chuck Champion, we were not in any of that. Jeremy Lappin may have been, because Jeremy just had a way to weasel his way into every floor and every door.
he used his liberties as an attorney.
He does that well.
Yeah, I'd heard that. So you guys sign a CBS deal. This is like mind blowing. At the time, I mean, it's the first time mixed martial arts has ever been on mainstream TV.
Another first. Another first.
Okay.
Yep.
So
you had your first bell. Ding ding.
Yeah. Well, every show we've got a few of those going on. Hey, Joey, I think we just got to ask the question in regards to his father. Like, so Joey and I, we get into the weeds with some of our conversations, and we, I don't know. I don't think there's too many people on this planet, Joey, that you and I can kind of like dig this deep.
Right.
Your father, a world famous boxing promoter, you're the heir to an incredible legacy and company that was created. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Right.
He's a dinosaur.
But he used to have. Did he ever have a Wikipedia page?
I don't know.
I think it'd be.
I don't know.
It's like erasing the Duvas. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or didn't, but it's not something that he would have ever created or known.
He wouldn't have cared. He wouldn't have cared.
He doesn't care. Yeah, he never. The thing about my father was what made him such a successful boxing promoter that was able to scale from being a commissioner to you're inserted at main events, but when you unceremoniously end with main events, you're essentially starting on your own again, and it only becomes about your connections, right? But the thing is, what I'm witnessing, if you ask me about my father, my review of life, what made him such a top tier promoter in the end was his ability to not give a fuck about his name as being important in the thick of it all. Meaning it doesn't have to be a Gary Shaw Productions only. There's co-promotions. He had a way of making the little guy, the smaller promoters be the bigger stars as him. He loved guys like Joe DeGuardia, guys like Art Palulo. He would bring them and put them in better positions rather than Top Rank would poach their fighters and not let any of these small promoters get to big time events. He was willing to work with them and work with their fighters and therefore strike deals that would involve him with their fighters. Possibly he had a way to navigate by not using his name for anything more than it's important, which is, the name you have is the name you're given and you die with, and you better respect the morals of your code of your name. And that's it with your name. And your name is what you trade off of, not a business card. So that's how I live. That's what he taught me, but not when it comes to putting the star where it needs to be for whatever the position is of the best of business. So going into the MMA, right, being it full circle like that, that's what made us the biggest weapon, was we weren't going to put our promotion in front of the promotion itself or the fighters. We were going to let real fighting do the talking and real storytelling do the talking. Because didn't you love HBO on the Road growing up in the Tyson era?
I loved it.
Is there anything better than knowing something about boxers? But, it's like American Idol. It's like, I'll go find you 24 better singers than the last 72 singers that have been on that show on TV. However, doesn't mean they're not better television, or doesn't mean they weren't given the opportunity to go audition or whatever. The point is, the power of storytelling by television is the greatest gift known to promotion worldwide. And you can walk anything.
Facts.
And you can walk anything. Yeah, you can walk anything into anyone's home and into their memory and into their heart. That doesn't have to have the most talent in the world. It could have the most unique story or the most peculiar memory. And those things are going to trigger for people. So the gift in promotion and in fighting was the ability for us to also know. My father always knew what made great television. He was a promoter with a TV executive's vision. Truthfully, and I like to think I have that too. And it's and if someone asks me how you get it, I tell them you live it, you learn it, and you life it. Right? And you're one, Mike. You know it.
Yeah. We're all lifers. We're all lifers here.
And when you see, it's like a simulation. You see enough fighters. You understand when you see a young fighter, what's going to make a great fighter. You can peg. You can see that.
So let me come full circle on my question. So there's a few people that have ran afoul of the UFC. Joey, do you know anybody else that may have had a Wikipedia page that we interviewed that is no longer available?
Damn it, we were just talking about this yesterday.
John Perretti.
Yeah, that's a sin. That's a sin.
So there's
of course
a couple
they
people.
him.
I mean, Perretti was before you guys, but he's actually been photoshopped out of UFC pictures as well. So like when Joey and I are doing our research, I'm like, Jared, you and I had talked. I think just after our first interview, I'm like, dude, your dad doesn't have a Wikipedia. Like,
yeah, I think you did mention that.
Yeah. So like, here's the thing: we got our baseline questions, and then I try to draw from other interesting components. And these are just like the little throwaway.
That's why you're the detective. You're the detective.
Right. Joey just fucking stepped on your line.
He stole my line. It's okay.
Right. Joey, my bad.
So
Joey, that's how true your line is, right?
It's true. That's true.
But the thing is, though, Jared, like, your dad falls into that John Perretti category. I wonder.
Well, how does one get the Wikipedia page made?
Anybody can make it, and then people just add to it, and there's millions of them. There's millions of them.
But like, do you think on the level of like, my father probably would have had to ask someone to make one, right?
No.
You think someone would have made one because it was access to them?
Bro.
People like making them.
Okay. I'm going to speak as if I know the answer to this question, but I don't know.
Okay.
My belief, your dad had a Wikipedia page, and it takes money and influence to get it erased. Wikipedia pages can be created for anybody, but to get erased, you better have some money and power.
They are always hitting you up for donations when you go on there.
Yeah. My belief, I think you got erased.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think it's the same person that did the John Perretti one. That's what I think.
It doesn't make your philosophy any less, because the reality is I'm his son and I'm similar to him. It's like, I would have never even searched myself if he had a Wikipedia page. So I would never even been able to be like, yeah, he had one. What happened to it? At the same time, because that time in MMA, it was a really good growing experience for me, but it was also a painful living experience for what I brought in my own purity and passion, and what I received in hate and bullshit and online slander was a lot for somebody my age to go through and understand. And
I think your father's tutelage helped you through that. It would have broken most people.
Yeah. His tutelage, and just like, I guess my own grit, really.
Dude. Joey, there's been a few times in the sport of mixed martial arts that I can point at, and I could honestly tell you without having actual proof or knowledge, but you just kind of look at it. There was a paid advertising campaign to badmouth Jared. And it was more like it started with his dad, and then his dad doesn't give a shit. He doesn't get online. And like, if somebody like somebody in the press would ask his dad about this was said online, his dad would be like, yeah, okay, who gives a shit? What's your actual question? But Jared was online. So it was almost like, to go after the father, they would try to kneecap the son. And it was a paid campaign.
The sword that cuts for you cuts against you.
Bro,
but I'm a warrior in just a different way.
Dude, what this guy went through, we're going to get into it. Like, I've got specific times, and I said it in, like, I think the second one or the first one. Anytime you oohed and ahhed, how many times do you see Joe Rogan or even Dana White go, holy shit, on a holy shit moment? The minute Jared did that, they would clip it out. Look, he's biased.
You know what it also taught me about the moment? If I was going back, like my old nickname, Scala, like, I wouldn't have thrown it in there, because I threw myself a jab for easy access for everyone to access and throw. And then if you really know me, like, I'm kind of aloof because I'm really sharp, and that I'm like in character mode when it's over the top, but really I'm not. I'm really solid at all times. And fighters that ever encountered me will never say a bad word about me, and know who I am and what I was to all of them, and all have the respect. And that's why it never mattered. That's why the things that mattered that were hurting me never killed me, because the inside was all built real strong, and the foundation was real. I was getting the real experience with the fighters who really respected me, doing the real work, presenting for everyone to then go, oh, this is a circus. Oh, this is bullshit. Oh, they're cheating. No, none of it. But you know what? It was working. It was working on that level. So I have to accept the fact that I'm not going to be loved by the public. And that's a sucky feeling when you also don't want to play the villain. If I wanted to play Floyd Mayweather's character, that would be different. It'd actually be something in today's world. Oh, go run with it. It's not my moral character to play the villain and play up on some shit that is actually immorally incorrect and targeting me. It's way more my character to stand up and fight for what's right and for the little people, which is always why I'm getting shut down in some capacity, because I have a certain energy that is like, it's not big dick energy. It's just like assertively, I know who I am, and I walk with open arms like that. And if you're scared of that, you're going to actually target me instead of just not be a part of it. And that's okay with me. But if I could go back, I wouldn't have set myself up for it knowing, but I didn't know it then. So I wouldn't have said, yeah, I got my nickname.
Hey, bro, no one knew that. Dude, nobody.
But I would have, no matter what, they would have came after me. And
no one would have predicted that, though.
It's like, but it's also like, it's like when Kimbo loses to Petrozelli and I'm standing up, right? And I'm passionate, to be honest, I thought he was getting hit in the back of the head in that moment. Or maybe it's what I really wanted it to be, like in disbelief, because you are not only seeing your friend go down, which is just someone you love, right? And you're allowed to love fighters that are in your federation, and you're allowed to root for them internally if you're not doing anything wrong to corrupt any part of a fight, right? So
yeah, God forbid you've got a connection to your own product. Right? God forbid.
So it was that, and then it was also the company's going to crumble when this happens. And those things are going to make me say, but I really did believe at that moment he got hit in the back of the head. But again, do you wish that you don't show any favoritism so that people around you don't feel your favoritism? Of course you wish that, but would I take it back? No, I'm a passionate guy who's passionate about the things I'm passionate about, which are my fighters, my fights, my promotion, and actually fans. Most of all, actually fans, because I am one, and that's how I go about it.
All right. So February of 2008, February 16th, you guys have your street certified event. And within the month, like they saw the tracking on this event. And you guys probably during this event were talking about a CBS deal. It wasn't ready to be announced at this time, but you guys were well on your way.
It was just going to be about buttoning it up and announcement.
We guys signed a paper, and then you gotta be careful. It was never leaked. That was never leaked.
They were already involved in essentially the company by being involved with Showtime. The next part that was going to come in was their investment in the company, right? And their platform, essentially. So that's why this thing was set to be such a real great monster and such an unfortunate miss. In the history of any sport, to be honest with you, because it had all the right players and the right stars and the right star finders,
dude,
to be historic forever. And I'm talking about in any sport, in any organization, because you have powerful television behind intelligent people on the inside of the fight game who are also understanding of TV viewership, what audiences want to see.
Joey, if you look at the room of like the matchmaking, there are people really driving, like the drivers of EliteXC. You had JD Penn, who was probably in his mid-30s, and then you had Rich Chow and Jared in their 20s.
Right.
Dude, think about it. And I'll tell you what, JD Penn, I think because BJ was so tied to the UFC, he didn't catch as much crap as both you and Rich, because what they were saying about Rich.
JD's like a protected foundational because of BJ is so revered and loved. Mm-hmm. And that's why I don't even really like to get into what happened with him, that whole family now, because it's like, I don't want to remember any of that. I don't ever want to, you know what I mean? Though I'm saying I don't ever want to remember them as broken, because I think of it as such an awesome brother love. And then JD has a really incredible personality that is so lovable, like a big panda. Like I tell him, I'm like, you like, it just is a way he operated himself as a human being. Was like, if you don't like that guy, I don't like you. How could you not like this guy? This guy is just so likable. And so is Rich, by the way.
So he more often than not got a pass. There's very little bad mouthing of him online. But the bad mouthing of Rich Chow was, does he have the Rolodex? Does he have the Rolodex? Like, it was, when we interviewed Rich Chow, that was the one thing that I asked him. I go, the one thing that people used to attack you with, you're based out of Hawaii, you're stuck on an island. Did you have the Rolodex? And he proved that he did. And then with Jared, it was just anything that they could do, anything that they can pull, whether it was real or it wasn't. It didn't matter.
A good-looking guy in a position of power is pretty easy to hate, especially when he's 26. I mean, you're a target. You're going to be a target.
The analogy I always give is it's the Justin Timberlake thing, because I didn't fucking like Justin Timberlake when I was 18 years old, because this motherfucker's a pop star. He's fucking Britney Spears. She's the it girl. And we all fucking be this kid. Let's get real. We all just hate, and we all want to fucking be in that position. Sounds awesome and dope, and I want to do it. Okay, let's hate on this guy. Then fast forward like 6-7 years, he's on SNL. He does Dick in the Box, and you're just like, that shit's fucking hilarious. Holy shit, that motherfucker's fucking talented. That's hilarious. And then all of a sudden,
I always liked him. Yeah, I always liked him.
You appreciate how talented the motherfucker is. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. It's like that. Yeah. No one wants to hear from a 27-year-old at the time. I'm not a biology kid. I'm in power position. And yeah, easy target.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys go from there to March 21st. You get the ShoXC at the Chumash Casino and Resort. You acquire Spirit FC in South Korea. March 29th, 2008, you guys partially fund the StrikeForce event with Frank Shamrock and Cung Lee. This has become Frank Shamrock's savings account. Like, he's cashing in more than any other fighter. He's made more money than anyone through this.
Well, it's like, okay, it's like, look at the baseball inflated contracts in today's world, right? When you think of the guy who's getting like 300 million, you're like, dude, he wasn't even that good in my era. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are the fuck we talking about? But you know what? Life goes on, inflation goes on, and so on. And that's how we get to that number. In this scenario, Frank Shamrock was in the right place at the right time of being somebody with a name, who was a veteran, who would bring legitimacy to our company from the very jump. And by doing that, he would set himself up for a very lucrative situation. And because he's an interesting character who isn't a bad looking guy, who speaks very well, he presents himself perfectly for television presentation. So now he can double dip and be a fighter and a commentator and find himself in a great leverage position for dominating with his name and his business and how he would go about. And obviously he was part of the fight with Scott Coker, right, from the onset with StrikeForce. So the co-promotion of something like that and funding that was going to be a natural mediation, let's say, right, to work to appeasing Scott and building that olive branch together. But because also my dad recognized from the jump that Scott Coker was an incredible live event operator. Yeah. What I mean by that was, you want to come to if my father had let's say my father had a fight that fit San Jose. Let's just pretend it's boxing, right? If we would have had a fighter where like, hey, this guy's close enough to San Jose, he could have a San Jose fan base. We may have called Scott Coker to get involved in a boxing match and do a deal in the arena with us there, because my father would have had a belief that he could actually sell the place out locally. That's the kind of respect my father had from Coker from the jump, because my father was smart enough to actually see that, because I agree about Scott Coker. There's a different level, right, to being a main level promoter where you can actually be the face of a company and talk for the company and get the noise. I don't know that Scott was ever really made out for that. And that's why maybe StrikeForce in the end didn't really work. And I think from the inside, though, as being an integral part of any promotion's foundation, if you want to make money, yeah, he could always have a job in any company because he had a great skill there as a live event operator.
He can answer hard questions. That's for sure. With like an exactitude that most people don't have the ability to. I agree.
It's an executive role like that.
So Frank Shamrock makes $300K. Cung Lee makes $200K. Nick Diaz is on the card. Like, same thing about this. The UFC gave up on the Diaz brothers, and you guys are like,
one Diaz. We couldn't get Nate. They were Nate.
He was on
that would have been great.
Yeah, but Nick.
But Nate,
right
listen, it wasn't like Nate wasn't at every fight. It wasn't like Nate wasn't at every fight going, damn, I wish I was with them. It wasn't like later in life, Icy Mike is so integral part of Nate's life, right? Like Nate wanted to be EliteXC in his mind as hard as anyone because he saw the way we were treating Nick.
But Nick at the time was probably 3x the popularity as Nate. It's flip-flopped since then, but not then.
1,000%. Right then, it was all about Nick, and Nate was starting to do some great shit, right, and do tough and everything. But yeah, Nick was
created the blueprint. He created the blueprint that Nate followed.
Right, and Nick fought his way there. Nick didn't come in. Nick didn't start in the UFC as somebody that everyone expected to be. He beat the guys that they wanted to win, and that's how he got his name as the tough motherfucker.
So Nick is pulled off the car versus Joust Suk Lim. He's got to serve a 5-year marijuana suspension. That's criminal. That's criminal. Do you think he may have been targeted by the Athletic Commission?
Of course. I think that you shine some light that I didn't really know later about Armando that I think is a little bit interesting in the scheme of it's still the same state, you know?
Yeah.
Looking back now, that's some good detective work. Mike,
Armando Garcia.
Because then, you don't know. You don't really know. You know what I knew? I knew that we understood we were going to fight Nick and we were going to fight him in places that were going to be lenient with us about the marijuana policies. Think
about this. All right, we got this guy with social anxiety disorder. We're demanding he does these press conferences. If he doesn't do it, we fine him, and we continuously put him in these positions to fail, even though his on-camera persona outside of these interviews is really getting over. Hey, Nick, this is what you're going to do. Publicly say, I don't fucking want to be here, and leave the press conference. That's cool. We got you. You feel happy. We feel happy. We got our clip. We put you over. I mean, it's nothing personal at that point. But Armando Garcia, I thought he was really easy on you guys as a promotion. But I think Nick Diaz, because of how popular Nick was, and like it was a gift given to you by the UFC because they cut him.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if your detective work is right, and there's some chumminess and some willingness to hurt us. Hey, if I'm going to hurt somebody, I can hurt them. I don't have to cut their cake to take a piece of their icing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Period. And that's what it is. I'll penalize Nick because Nick deserves to be penalized in my mind because it still warrants, federal, all this bullshit. And I'm not really hurting the promotion, which isn't going to necessarily make Gary pissed off, which isn't going to cause more problems for me and him because we do a lot of business together because Gary has boxing. And, I can't look like I'm targeting. You're not saying something that because I like to think about all things outside the box always. That fits. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting philosophy. And
it's shocking that Armando didn't go to prison after they found all that money in a locker. I mean, no, you're fired. You're never coming back here. But whatever strings got pulled for him not to be federally charged, very impressive. Like that, to me, that's his most impressive act, not being charged after having 6 figures of cash found in a locker. You only lost your job for that. Man, dude, good for you. I mean, imagine what left the office, let alone that's just what they found.
Right.
Goes and works as the head of security for Station Casino, owned by the Fertittas, and is now, from what I understand, living in I heard Taiwan. Not Taiwan, I heard Thailand.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why I heard he retired too.
Very interesting. And
well, it's hard, you're off the radar, and you're kind of harder to, like, the desire to take you from that country to face criminal charges. There's a couple extra steps to where you're like, is the juice worth the squeeze or not?
of course. And I'm just thinking about my whole life growing up in like this commission side of things, and around my dad and around Larry Hazard and Jerry Gormley.
I like Larry Hazard.
Yeah, I'm a big Larry Hazard love.
Yeah,
guy. He was
I got his phone number, Joey. Remind me.
A great guy. He always treated me as a kid so great. He always thought I could be a judge from day one. They used to have me judge fights. I was like 5-6 years old. I'd sit there, watch a fight, and he'd have me hand him a scorecard. And he would always tell me, Jared, you can be a judge. Like, so like I saw, that's how I would say, when you're around boxing, you get this, you're living it. You live in the fight, you live it.
Larry Hazard's legit, dude.
Yeah. It's just, when I think about my memories around commissioners were healthy. My dad has always really been a really great and honest guy and fighter first. And so I had great memories of people in power positions, but it's not like I didn't get privy as I continued to go into people who like to rule position incorrectly. And it sucks. And it's littered in the fight game. And I'm sure it's littered in every corporate 500 company. It's like, it's life in
people out for themselves, not for the company.
It sucks.
It's true.
A lot of people are like that, or that they have us. They it's the funny thing about politics. I always say I don't politic. I politic on a blunt. Like, the fact is, like, I'm not all about people who create uproars against other people for something that's going to change in 4 more years or change in another thing. It's like an evolution of life of hysteria and sound that they're creating that's getting everyone away from everything that actually is just like core, So it's like, it's the same shit, and it's a different, in a different world.
Yeah. Let me put you a couple of things forward. You also have Drew Fickett on the card.
Yep.
There's no stories involving Drew Fickett in that event. Like, was he drunk after weigh-ins? Did he crank call his opponent? No fist fights, or at the pool or in the sauna? None of that?
Nothing I remember.
Holy shit, dude. Man, Drew, you've matured. All right. Tiki Ghosn, Dana White's very, very good friend, is on the card. I was kind of surprised at seeing that. Like, they had a good relationship at this point. I had a feeling it was one of those things where, let's see what kind of push we can get on the contract and get the new contract after CBS. To me, that's what it looked like.
That question, I would say, was either a StrikeForce side of things, or
Joey, I contended that at one point or another, Scott Coker has been a double agent.
Yeah.
I have said that. I've been on record a few times. Not the whole totality. Just a portion. So go ahead, Jared.
No, that's what I think. I think so. Okay. From the StrikeForce side of things.
Jared kind of laughed at that, but he disclosed nothing. That was just my opinion. That's
Scott Coker will have to come on the show and defend himself.
Yeah, we've had a conversation. I respect
He'd be
Scott.
a great one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you go April 5th. You got the ShoXC series, so you're still watering the roots, which is incredibly important.
And we were always in the wildest of places with ShoXC. Where were we for that one? What was the city?
Joey, April 5th, 2008. You guys always were in some bizarre spot.
Tajma Table Mountain Casino, Friant, California.
Nice 8-hour drive in the middle of nowhere where there's no airport. That's what that sounds like.
My dad loved deals in Indian reservations and with small town casinos, because the operational costs and the ability to make money were so easy when working in those type of situations where the casino cares about people inside gambling. They need entertainment. They're going to pay for it. We're carrying television wherever we go. So we're attractive to any casino locally, worldwide, because it's something for them to promote. So when you're reverse engineering, right? The sharpest route isn't, let me go to fucking this big ass arena here in Hartford where we can't fill it. Right. Let's go to fucking Mississippi and do it in Biloxi or someplace like that and kill it with a casino that's local, that we all feel like, where the fuck are we? But we are, but the company is making money. And that was my point. That's how we turn profit. That's how we turn green so quickly, because we were never losing money on any event. We were already operating incredibly well. It's how my father operated with boxing, only we had a way busier schedule. We had way more television dates now to fulfill.
So with this new venture, because your first event is March 31st, 2008. It's your first CBS event. It's called EliteXC Primetime. Was the division trying to oust Gary Shaw? Was it before the event or was it after the event?
You know, I wish we would have had these interviews before my father passed, because that's a question that I don't think that I know about the way that I know it. Now, again, my father may have shielded me from certain things in life.
I agree.
I don't like to think that he really has in the business world, but you know, like one time, I'm just saying, after Lennox Lewis fought Klitschko in LA, he woke me up at 4 a.m. because there was a hit on his life. And we had to get on a private plane and get the fuck out of there. And it was like one of the, I don't know why it's not traumatic. Like, I barely ever remember it. I brought it up now, but in that moment, it was like a whole, like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, my father wouldn't shield me from nothing, you know, like he'd tell me exactly then what was going on. And that's what it was. And we were leaving. So, you know, it was not like someone said, we got to go. Like, he wasn't, he made me get in the ring with Shane Mosley, with Panchito Bajado, with Angulo. He made me fight these guys. He wanted to always see, you know, I guess my balls in essence, but he also didn't want to shield me from anything is the point. So in business, he wouldn't have shielded me from like, fuck this guy. They're like, he wouldn't have shielded me from it. But what he was,
but would he wanted to taint you against them though? Because they might be movable pieces after.
The way my father becomes, and this is how kind of it was with Rock Nation and why it didn't really work and he decided to disband it, is in my certain way, my father becomes a hater of some product that he's involved in an essence of, he knows this is going to be shit and they're fucking it all up. And he gets exhausted by it all, because he's battling an uphill battle that's unwinnable because they're bleeding money out this pro. So what he becomes is fuck this pro elite shit. Fuck, like he becomes a hater of something that's inside the company that makes it easier for other people to start to not like him as much. You understand?
Joe, in reality, he had a full production company. Like, he was just a plug and play guy to where just leave him alone. Do not fuck with his stuff. And Gary knew that.
Let him work.
Gary knew that. And by subtracting all of his pieces, my belief, I mean, and like I said, this is just me wearing today's glasses looking back. My belief is, oh, you guys think this is so easy? Let me just take all of my pieces and leave. And let me watch you actually do an honest day of work. Let me see where you're at.
That's the same thing he did with the Rock Nation in the end, because we left an incredible deal on the table and I was in an incredible position to grow. And none of that mattered to him as more than his own moral. Like, we gave up a lot of money to just disband the deal. So it's 100% about the way just my father operates and is. And when he's done with something, he's done with it. And that was what it was with EliteXC. He was done with it, but that didn't come exactly right then. But I'm sure there was a side of the side you're saying. I'm sure there was a push, and I'm sure there was also a done perspective. And he had his boxing, and he knew the ship was going to sail. He already knew the ship was going to sail on this thing, and he didn't want to be there to watch it explode. But not because he's not somebody who's willing to go down with a ship. It's not like that type of scenario. It's completely like a fucking mess. Their heads are buckling and he doesn't want to deal with it. He's a guy.
Juice isn't worth the squeeze to him.
He's his own one-man gang. He always has been. He's a one-man gang, you know? And even in main events, Kathy unceremoniously fucked that up because she wanted the power, but it was because she wanted the power and he's a one-man gang. And he was definitely not going to accept oh, you're in power after I positioned all this type of shit.
Yeah.
Not even like a 50-50, not even like.
Here, let me set the entire table.
The whole idea was I build your company while you go to law school. And as soon as you go to law school, you just kick me out and you run it. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? Lennox left with him. The best fighters left with him because you can't fuck with cloth. When it's real, it's real. So when that's why I say my father would sit down go down with a sinking ship if it meant something to him. Like, look, he left me there. It wasn't like he didn't believe in something we were going to do. And they were changing to Chuck Champion too. So like shit was changing, but I think he always had a fortitude. Look at Rock Nation. Their fighting never got off the ground. So he wasn't wrong.
Yeah. He wasn't wrong. May 31st, 2008. It's the first event on CBS, EliteXC Primetime. It's in Newark, New Jersey. You mentioned Larry Hazard's name. Larry Hazard literally is the reason that the UFC got sanctioned in major markets. So like if in Larry Hazard, I'm going to tell you, like he has his own guys. Larry Hazard has his own people, and he doesn't kind of shy away from that. He doesn't pretend like it's any differently. He rules by his own word and doesn't give a shit about anybody else.
He's the best dresser I ever saw.
Dude, he is the one that gave CPR to Clarence Griffin. Yep. When he went down, Clarence Griffin is Montel Griffin's father, was cornering at a live event, was also Muhammad Ali's main trainer. Dude, Larry Hazard giving him CPR, trying to, oof. I got a world of respect for him. Anyway, you come in with Kimbo versus James Thompson as the main event. The MMA community here, fuck furious. It was a paid campaign to shit on it because you had Robbie Lawler and Scott Smith as the co-main. Incredible. Like even Dan Miragliotta got dumped on for standing up the Kimbo James Thompson fight quote unquote prematurely. Watch the fight. Dan Miragliotta did the right thing. It was two guys, not the highest of skilled. They kind of leveled each other out. And all Dan Miragliotta did was, there's no crazy submissions taking place at this time. Let's just stand the fight up and give each guy a fair shot, because right now it kind of looks like slop. Miragliotta did the right thing.
Well, number one, I want to let you know, for me, it's really interesting to listen to you talk about our fights, because I can take a lie detector on this. Okay. I have never watched back a single fight that I've done after I've lived it. Unless it's like Diego's 10th round, maybe it's the memories. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll start to watch everything that we did in boxing, but I never watched back any of our MMA. So sometimes I'm going back in my head as I'm living it.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. And to listen to you explain how you say, it wasn't a bad stand-up. It's a beautiful thing to hear, because what I'll add is the ear pop. So the ear pop is fate running its course. When the stars are starting to align, right? Fate has a way of helping in the fact. We told James Thompson to drain his ear. He did not want to drain his ear. I don't know why.
I think he's just stubborn. We've been trying to get him on for like 2 years.
So I don't know why. I don't know why, because I think someone also will tell you, you can't plan a fight. We didn't go into an evil thing, go like this. Ha, ha, ha. Hey, Rich, I've got a great evil idea. Let's get James Thompson, okay? Make sure he's got Matt Burn. His cauliflower ear? Okay, perfect. Tell him not to pop that shit. We're going to start a promotion that announces Kimbo and Thompson, and he's going to have that cauliflower ear so Kimbo can pop it after the crucifix, okay? Great. I wish I was that fucking great. I wish I had that much talent. That much.
He didn't want to drain it, and
I'll tell you who's going to win the Super Bowl in 2027 if that's the case. I got the fucking almanac.
Let me just kind of set the table for the listeners at home that I mean, if you're listening to this show, you already know, but let's just pretend that there's like one or two out there that don't. James Thompson comes in with a huge cauliflower ear. It's like a softball hanging off of his head. And he is winning the fight against Kimbo. He's scoring takedowns and he's winning the fight. And then at some point, what takes place is Kimbo from the bottom starts striking him to the ear that has cauliflower, including elbows, punches, and it pops. And it looks like it's going to come off of his head. Like, it's not like, oh, the ear's bleeding. That's it. No. He was allowed to lose a sizable chunk of his ear. We've experienced it in bare knuckle. Like, we've experienced it where the bottom portion, the earlobe is about to come off. It's an automatic stoppage.
Remember the Hasim Rahman when he had that?
Oh, yes, against Evander Holyfield.
Yes. Things you don't forget. Keep in mind.
You got to stop it.
Keep in mind, we're on CBS. Imagine this is, hey, look at this blood and gory lie. Like, this is the whole reason they didn't know if they were going to put this on, you know?
Because the exact reason that they didn't know if they were going to put it on.
At the beginning, like, there was this whole thing originally about, like, what's going to happen if there's blood on the map before the primetime event. And they didn't want to go in there with blood.
Right.
So imagine this with the cauliflower ear explosion. Now, when it's a perfect fate train, it's a perfect fate train because it makes for great television. Everything about it was fatefully great, but nothing about it was fixed or corrupted. And yes, I yelled, stand it up in the corner. And no, I shouldn't have. But you know what? At the same time, I need fucking action. I don't necessarily am saying stand it up so Kimbo wins and that's the way it's got to go. We need action. This is prime time. Stand them up. That's a long time they're down. So the one thing that we kind of brought, my father, myself, into the imprinting of with our referees, with the promotion, with the fighters, the way we wanted this to be was action-based to where we're not asking for anyone to unfairly have an advantage, but in proper time, stand up, fight, or any stallmates cannot be going on.
No, it's entertainment. Joey, pull the card up. You absolutely have to. And Miragliotta,
got it.
I thought he did a good job.
He did.
Like here, let's. Well, he stood it up unfairly. Unfair to who? Nothing was going on.
He's actually a really good ref,
dude. He's a fantastic ref. Joey, pull up the card.
I got the card. By the way, draining an ear, people that don't know, is very easy. I've done my own several times. You just prick it with a needle and pop it like a pimple.
Yeah, just squeeze.
And I don't believe that James Thompson was afraid of needles. I saw his Pride career. I think he loved needles. Just my opinion.
I don't know why. You know what?
You know what it is? He's not a wrestler. He's not. Yeah. James Thompson's not a wrestler.
Right.
He worked on wrestling really hard. But wrestlers take a certain pride in having ugly ears.
Right.
And this may have been one of the ugliest.
Yeah.
Worst I've seen.
So the viewers understand, even if we were promoters, that was like the evil plan. That's how we're going to get out. There's no guarantee that thing's going to pop. There's no guarantee that when it pops, it's going to be gory enough that it's going to end a fight. That's how you know. It's just like, that was fate. That was his own dumbfounded mistake. If I was his training team, I would never talk to my training team again. I would say, what kind of advice are you giving me? Or if I was the trainer, I'd say, I'm never working with this dumb fighter again. Yeah. I gave him the advice and he don't want to fucking do it. I can't work with this guy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you can't demand that they train at ear. You can't, Joey. Start from the main card. What do they start with?
Okay, Brett Rogers fighting John Murphy. Was that?
All right, dude, check this out, dude. This card is filled with criminals. It's absolutely filled with fucking criminals. You got Brett.
He looked good,
dude. He did, and they were able to build him.
Well, that was. So if I take you back in scope to, like, in my mind in that moment, I found my star B. I found my insurance plan to how I wanted Kimbo to fight someone who I thought in the worst case scenario, I had something else.
Absolutely.
I told you later that fight, which I told you earlier, me and Lappin, I didn't want to wait also too long because Brett had more ability to get better than Kimbo did declining. And I knew that. So the time to strike was going to actually be really compressed. Yeah. But you know what? I got enough quick events that I can actually compress this quick enough to make Brett Rogers. Now that I've seen him, he's a killer. Love your Mohawk, Brett. Need you to do that one more time on a next level card. And then I got my guy.
Yeah.
if you're going to get Kimbo a win against Brett Rogers, you're right. Now is the time to do it. You're 100% correct. And for this conversation, you could never have while you were in that position. But the matchmaking room, there's always an A side and a B side. Kimbo is bringing way too many eyes to the table to even pretend anybody going up against him is the B side. Kimbo's always going to be the A side. So Brett Rogers has the rare distinction of having the first fight on nationally televised, for a nationally televised event against John Murphy.
Then we got Joey Villasenor versus Phil Baroni.
Dude, there's another
Phil Baroni criminal.
He got two criminals right in a row.
And look how we resurrected Joey.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just adding the guys that I
love Joey.
This company we didn't just resurrect guys. We resurrected great guys who deserve to be resurrected. That's what's so cool about it all. When you go through the names that you knew from growing in MMA to the guys who got second chances on EliteXC, who made something of themselves, guys like him, guys like Scott, guys like who we spoke about, Robbie
Lawler, who's a co-main.
Like all of these guys that we gave opportunity to once again showcase what a phenomenal set of skills they had that weren't told to a massive audience the first time, where losses, unlike boxing, are not catastrophic, that don't worry, we can still tell your story. And if you still have the skills to pay the bills, you're going to look good doing it.
What's the third fight on the main card? Now, wait, let's keep in mind, this thing peaks at 6.5 million people watching.
Crazy.
Who's the third fight?
Gina Carano coming in versus Caitlyn Young.
So for people at home that don't know, Caitlyn Young is somebody from the Minnesota area that didn't have a lot of mixed martial arts experience, but her Muay Thai background is undeniable. She's also very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the female Muay Thai scenes in the entire country right now, Minnesota is easily number one, and it's because of Caitlyn Young. Caitlyn Young is still an integral part of the mixed martial arts scene. And dude, she is no joke, still teaching classes in Minnesota. Gina Carano, juggernaut. Two hot chicks fighting each other.
Yep.
So with that fight, like you said, I think with Gina, it opened up to like pretty girls can fight, and they can fight well. And there is a feminine life to this division that comes with beauty and comes with great skill sets and comes with huevos, to put on a show. And here presented another girl, but it also presented a little bit of protection for us in the essence of Gina's strongest foundation is Muay Thai. So
Caitlyn Young won that first round, dude.
No, I know. But our thought was putting her in there with somebody who was on her level in the skill set she had was going to be a safer bet for anything else that we're worried about at that point with her foundation work, if it was going to go to the ground, if it could end in submission. And we wanted her to stand up and bang because that's where we felt she would shine with her hands. And yeah, that was
great fight.
I like the matchmaking we did there.
Here, and Gina's the A side. We can agree on that, right? She's already been on your events a few times.
No, of course.
You bring it in a B side. So
you can call it the ultimate A side. When you reach a promotion's ultimate A side, and I don't care what promotion's out there, what I'm saying is they would be like, well, if I thought about it that way, yeah, that's what it is. We all have an ultimate A side. That A side is always A side until it loses by the B side deservingly beating it. And then we see if we have two A's, of A, B, but there's an ultimate A side that no matter what is our bona fide stars and our new powerhouse players. And Kimbo was one, and Gino was another, and Nick Diaz was another.
So Gina Carano also fits into that category. Conor McGregor, Kimbo, those are ultimate A sides. So what a seasoned matchmaker does is what they do is they have a girl that's also very attractive, can fight. You have them go up a little bit in weight. So there's a little bit of a
Of
disadvantage
course.
there for them. Kind of like what Jake Paul has done prior to getting his like $90 million.
Well,
Right.
no, also because two part, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But the second part is understanding that draining Gina down in weight is going to present a physical toll on her frame that was starting to be the one issue that we as matchmakers thought could come up with Gina in losing a match was going to be her stamina. So, and the idea to protect her stamina a little bit was to not have her have to be in other weight classes where she couldn't deservedly be. And obviously from there, we're going to select fighters that really can't even, they have to eat their way
Right.
to that next weight class instead of necessarily, it's not even like, hey, they don't have to drain, but they can't even really get there. So now we got power. So if I'm going to put her in a stand-up fight against a girl who also can fucking fight, then the advantage is going to be shown in the power.
Yeah. Robbie Lawler, Scott Smith, your co-main. And so, Joe, here's the caveat. Like this is a Jared move.
Mm-hmm.
Ensign and I poke. It was gearing up to be an absolute war. It was an actual accident where Scott Smith, had they given him his 5 minutes, he would have continued fighting. The state, I think it's television, bright lights. We'll call it an abundance of caution.
Right.
Was done at this point. They stopped the fight. Gary comes in, easy guy, doesn't give a shit about the bright lights or anything. Like he's not dressed for here's my clout moment. He just came in there and just goes, hey, listen, whoa, both these guys are getting their win bonus. Don't worry, anybody at home.
Nice. Good move.
Bro, you can hear the vacuum suck from the people wanting to talk shit.
Mm-hmm. That's how Pops operated. Like I said, he was fighter first. First. And like, I guess the reason the corporate structure in him never really works isn't just from that essence. Think of him like Robin Hood. If you're gonna if you're not gonna steal from a company, you're gonna give it to the fighters inside of the company instead of all the executives keep it. We're a company that's giving money.
The executives behind the scenes are stealing. They actually are stealing right now. You got an OTC Pink Sheets stock at like $15 right now. That was a fucking penny stock. The amount of shorting and exchanging and all of
that was on
whatever money magic people do with the stock exchange. I'll never have an understanding or grasp of it. But these guys, tens of millions of dollars people were making on this EliteXC stock. And this right here is the peak.
And I think that's the interesting part is like, imagine building up like a Ponzi scheme and accidentally inside the Ponzi scheme, you build something real.
Yes.
Inside of the Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
And that's what this fucking is.
Yes.
But thankfully for me, I was in the bubble of real. So I didn't even fucking understand or was privy, thankfully, to anything but of course. So and but then the irony, like the Larry David moment is, okay, you got a Ponzi scheme and you've got to run something real inside. Oh my God, but the guys that are in the real side, it's all pure. Everyone's like a purist. We're giving money to the fighters. We're doing everything that's right.
Here, let's pay somebody to shit all over these good people. Right or wrong.
Right.
Dude, Joey, I've been wanting to interview Jared for years. And I never had the balls to send him a message because the time wasn't right. I don't know. But I'm like, hey, fuck it, dude. Hey, Jared, have you ever looked at the EliteXC cards? They've kind of aged like fine wine. If you ever really looked at them, and I don't think up until this point you had.
No, I have not. Everything that you guys are telling me is like first again. But you know what? I believe it because I lived it and I know how good the fights were, the fighters were, how much more life some of those fighters got in mileage out back into the UFC in other opportunities. Some of them winning world championships again, like validations for everything that we were building proved itself over time enough that I knew even being out of the business, those things were happening. So Yeah, of course. I know everything aged like fine wine. I think the craziest part of it all is when you look at the success of Jake Paul and of social media and influence and the word streaming now. And ready for a first? We were first to streaming, right? We were like literally first to streaming with the first internet personality of all time. We already had combined influencer market and streaming market without even knowing what the fuck we were doing at that time. And if you look at it all now, it's a monster, you know? So, of course, I know the cards had to have aged like fine wine. The fighters that were coming up the pipeline too is what will always be that mythical conversation, like a pound for pound conversation. Because like we were literally going to sign Shane Carwin. And then look what he went to do. And he went and did in the UFC and won a title. We were, you know, we knew this guy that called himself the teacher, John Jones. Like, so we were going to like make contact. Like there was going to be moments where some people weren't going to be there. Ronda Rousey would have been the world champion of EliteXC, you know?
She came from StrikeForce. Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of that would have happened maybe with UFC until they had bought something or caved in on their, you know, just said, okay, we're going to do women fighting too. The domination of that.
No, wait, hold on, dude. There was a kind of like a gold rush of women's MMA, and it starts here.
Right?
Yeah. The gold rush starts here. There's gold in these hills.
Remember, Dana was on record back then saying he wouldn't do women's MMA. So that's what I'm saying. Like if we were still around and had all these women, who knows if they ever would have got in or caved in and said, we'll get involved too.
Some people are cursing you today because the women in this era are much different than the point fighting we're seeing today. Like, and it's like, it's just changed so much. Women's MMA has changed so much as compared to what this was.
Yes.
This was real.
Yeah, this was the dawn of it.
Holy fuck, dude. And dude, Dan Miragliotta, I got to give him credit where credit's due. Sometimes, you know, we're talking about balls and pull and yeah, sometimes you got to play your cards and not like have people. I would say sometimes like the common fan maybe might not know. Dan Miragliotta refereed every single fight on CBS except the women's fight. Like, what are you going to pretend like he wasn't playing cards? He wasn't playing a hand in order to get that 6.5 million.
New Jersey selecting the referee, you know? And Dan was good. Dan was a good referee. And I think the idea was like, I think like the original UFC was Big John. And I think that was part of it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And
your ref's a star, one ref. Like
Herb Dean has certainly made a name for himself. I am going to give you guys kind of not an example. I'm going to kind of give you just like a happenstance that is absolutely true, but it's not in this event's instance. So like what I don't want people to go is, well, I said this takes place. What I'm saying absolutely does take place, but it is not in this instance. So the stand-up between Kimbo and James Thompson, in my opinion, 100% justified, and I get it because it's a sloppy fight between two guys that aren't just real polished yet, but it's a fight to get eyes on the product in order to shine on what's underneath it, which it does.
Yeah.
A really good referee that's consistently used by promotions, what they'll do is they'll kind of see an angle that might benefit the promotion. And it might be, well, I'm not going to call a doctor in at this time, where I am going to call a doctor in at this time in order to get a desired outcome.
Then I just want to jump in and say, so astute and so intelligently said for your listeners. And that referee wants to get paid again and again and again, and wants to be called on more and more and more.
Yeah.
And wants to be in the pool of referees that are called on. So,
and there's entertainment that's incredibly desired.
So anyone who wants to understand the outer workings and inner workings of the fight game, a fight is never corrupted the way people want to believe it is. Unfortunately, there's corruption in every industry, sport. And yes, on some levels, there are corruption in certain fights where guys are getting robbed of decisions, but not for sure where we were because we're straight shooters. And just in general, I like to think most promoters are this way. But the point that I want to make viewers listen to is like the fight is for you guys, for television, to be authentic with a authentic outcome. However, it needs to set the standards for television and for viewership interest and not to be bored. And you trust that you're going to put into other people who can be operationally instrumental in that, which in any sport becomes a referee, because the referee has a way to fuck up outcomes. So for every Tim Donahue there is who's actually a cheater and cheating and shaving points, doesn't mean there isn't another great referee out there who's making the right decisions to make the game do the right things without at all corrupting the game. In this case, the referee you are so astute, is understanding in a way that's going to help television, that isn't really going to be giving
an
advantage where one fighter already had enough time to do something that would be advantageous and therefore act as he saw fit, because that's what makes a good referee get called back, is when a promoter can trust him to be honest and fair and intelligent for the perspective of viewership at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And does that happen? Was Dan Miragliotta accused of doing that? For sure. Does that happen? For sure. Did it happen in this instance?
No.
I know. Like, just watch it.
Free will,
just watch
its
it.
own decision, and an intelligent decision.
It's the right. It's you had two guys that maybe should have been regional fighters at the time on a huge stage. Okay, we just got to make it look good. Whether it's from production, whether we hype it, it doesn't matter. It got eyes there. It did its job. Dan Miragliotta did his job to make it look palatable. And you know what? Almost 7 million people watched it. 6.5 million people watched it. So it's a win across the board.
It's also doing justice for MMA, whether people want to believe this statement or not, because mixed martial arts is getting put onto a main platform at the biggest level. And no matter what I say next, everyone has to accept that nobody wants to watch anyone just lay down on someone else and sit there. It's boring. It's like Johnny Ruiz. No one wanted to watch him win the heavyweight championship. Right. His style. He found it.
I'm like one of the few. I'm one of the few.
He hit you.
The quiet man.
But you fall asleep. It was a nightmare for promoters. It was a nightmare for everyone because this is not good television. And that's what matters. Some of the best world champions in the world weren't good television fighters. That's why they weren't put in front of your eyes till they had to fight so many guys that made them put in front of your eyes. Right. Yeah. Floyd had to earn his way to everything he got because his style wasn't going to call him the greatest ever. If Pernell Whitaker came around in today's age, most of you wouldn't go and put all your money into Pernell Whitaker until Pernell Whitaker beat every single person that came. And you said, oh, Pernell Whitaker's the best. And then you respected the fact that defense wins championships.
Sweet Pea. I love Sweet Pea.
Of course.
I was a Sweet Pea fan growing up. All right. So this is in May 31st. So we'll call it April 1st. This thing ends. By June 14th, your father, do we call it, does he resign or is he forced out? What are we calling it?
I'm going to call it resign because I never heard him forced out.
Okay.
But let's call it amicable.
Okay. It was an amicable split. But as Jared said, and I'm surprised you were this forthcoming, it appears that there's a money scam going on, but a part of that money scam actually turns out to be a real business where the money scammers just go, holy shit, wait a minute, there's a real company here. And it allows them to either right side and let's kind of make this thing correct, because the UFC, all you got to do is UFC Zions scam. There's like a 45-page document that showed that the UFC actually right-sided itself when they had the ability to do so. These people had the ability to do so, but chose not to. And that's when your father goes, you know what? You're not fucking up my reputation. It's time for me to go.
And that's
right?
Am
I right?
Yes, I think that sounds very legit. I think if he would shield me from things in life, like I told you, I don't think he'd shield me from many. The idea of illegal activity, he may shield me from in a perspective if he knew, and that would probably force his own hand. I also think he was just so tired of fucking Jeremy, and he was tired, and he didn't necessarily agree with the way Doug was doing it, or then Chuck was doing it.
Chuck champion, yeah.
Yep. And I think there were multiple reasons. I really do. I don't think fully I'm saying he thought it was a scam, because why would he leave me there inside of something that was dangerous? I don't think he would have done that. Yeah. I think later in life, it turns out that it was a scam, that maybe there's conversation. I'm not saying, I don't actually know anything about, other than I had a shitload of stock. I had a shitload. The boy
you couldn't cash out.
I couldn't cash out. We were here. We were going to buy a fucking franchise one day. Other than my Holtz Claw, which I had none of it. Really, that's all I really know. I was living the dream, and doing what I was passionate about in that instance. But yeah, looking back, I'm sure it's like a shell of something, a pink. It's so funny. I was watching with my nephew last night, Wolf of Wall Street, and it's like we're the aviation company that they're hawking, right? Maybe, and
a lot of people made a lot of money, and they had an opportunity. You guys had a contract, you had everything, and Joey, pull up the next card. June 14, 2008. You guys go back to Hawaii. Blaisdell Arena. KJ Noons, Eve Edwards is your main event. The entire card is fantastic, dude. I mean, it's littered with Hawaiian fighters getting an opportunity.
Richie doing his thing.
Dude, Richie Chow
doing his thing.
Dude, people talking shit about him at this time. Like, dude, anybody that was dogging him, all you gotta do is look at these cards. So at this time, when you were putting on these fights, you were online talking shit. Stop it. Stop. You publicly apologize. You know what I mean? Don't save that for private shit. So Eve Edwards, the term "don't be scared, homie" now goes viral because of this event.
Another first. We do viral meme stuff that is before viral memes.
You guys made that shit viral. You guys are teaching the UFC how to run an event. That's what you guys are doing.
So good.
I even bought a "Don't Be Scared, Homie" t-shirt. It was "Don't Be Scared, Homie" in black letters, and it's kind of like the silhouette of Nick Diaz. So, take my fucking money. That's all that happened to me at that point.
And that's the melee, right?
Well, no, there was one more.
Where's the rushing of the cage?
That's the first of which. The second one where Don, who's the play-by-play guy, where he goes, "These things happen in MMA."
Right.
That's not this one.
What's one's that?
That one's after this.
Wasn't that a Jake Shields fight?
That's the Jake Shields. Yeah. That's a StrikeForce. That happens on a StrikeForce.
Okay. But this is Nick and KJ.
So KJ beats Eve Edwards.
No, but that's the melee.
Yes, huge upset. Like everyone thought Eve Edwards was coming in to steamroll him.
Drop some new information on the detective that you don't know.
Go ahead, man. Let me hear it.
So this is where my dad is gone.
Yes.
Right? And guess what? Guess who's not brought to this event?
You?
Correct.
Wow.
Who made that decision?
Chuck champion. At this point, now Chuck.
Dude, your dad brought Chuck in.
It's by Jeremy. Decision, because this becomes the inner fighting of me versus Jeremy the rest of the way. It's me versus Jeremy to take Gary's position, with Jeremy having more like Ken Hirschman's ear, which made me really hate Ken because I grew up with Ken in my backyard, and now you're treating me like the kid that grew up in the backyard and not somebody who's capable of understanding how to do business or what fights to put on. Like you're about to clip my balls, give Jeremy more power, make everything more impossible. But like I said, Chuck gave me one weapon, one knife to bring to the gunfight. And my knife was my mouth and my ability to speak, which Jeremy couldn't do. So giving me the appearance to be the person speaking at a press conference, talking to the press, you were going to allow me one chance to fight for my right at this table. And I took that, and that's how I ran with it.
No. Keep in mind, Joey, these are people like this is Jeremy Lappin's mind. put him in front of the fucking firing squad, the people that are all talking shit, all of this thing. But the press is so inept, even in today's world. They're so inept. Dude, we never pretend we're journalists. Like, and it's like, I'm not trying to say that's an insult, but some of the people that bear that badge certainly are not deserving of it, but they need to have their hand held in order to be shown what to do or right.
Look, I grew up around my dad, going to fights with him. And as he would go from a commissioner where we would sit with Jerry and Larry and have, after food with that, to when my father became a promoter, and we would be there with people that are not your fight crew, but are all part of the whole fight scope, right? And the relationships that you build in that way. And what I remembered most of all were reporters, Kevin Ioli, Dan Raphael. Okay. Going way back to the guys that were the New York Post writers at that time, George Willis, and even past Mark Cregan, like so many reporters that are real reporters for real newspapers you would pick up, or real websites you go to, because Kevin Ioli was on Yahoo, right? Or Dan's on ESPN.com. And and my dad would treat them to lunches and dinners. And even when they were right bad about my dad was still their friend. Okay. And it gave my dad that much of a opportunity to fight for things maybe that he thought their opinions were wrong, in the right way that you do that. So I understood this. And that's why when I went and found that I had one knife in this gunfight, that I was going to do what felt natural and befriend the reporters that were going to report for me what we wanted them to report to help promote this, but do it in a way that they knew who the fuck I was. So they loved me. They didn't write bad about me. And even if they thought I was a little different, they didn't do it in a way that was to sabotage me. I understood, like they understood I was their click rate. And two guys that I think I trusted, and I actually think it's an interesting, looking back, it speaks volumes about my own vision for what other talent is and what I want to associate myself with.
Who is it?
Damon Martin.
Okay.
Who's had a long career writing in the business, right? I believe he's still around, correct?
I'm unfamiliar. Yeah, go ahead.
With MMA.
Is he an MMA junkie?
Yes.
Okay.
And or you could. Maybe he's not anymore. Okay?
No, dude.
He was one. I liked him.
I'm not real good with reporters. I don't know a lot of them.
Before I tell you the other, what I'll tell you that I liked the most about it was I thought I was in such a cool position in life. I was in a really powerful position in a really cool coming up industry. And in our industry, all the reporters are really people just writing on their computers inside of their cubicles, because everything is a Wild West and where everyone's building infrastructure. It's not like this. It's not like MMA junkies in a huge building and has a huge staff. They're probably 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, but everyone's growing at the same time.
They're hustling.
And I'm giving opportunity to men who are just looking to become a reporter or whatever, because I'm thinking that's how it's done. And there is no major journalism yet for us to cater to on the level of, I'm not whining and dining the New York Post writer and everything. That's not where we're getting. This is a new age. Now the new age is living online. You have to do the online thing. People are going to MMA Junkie, right? People are going to SureDog. So it's about those relationships. So I knew to build the relationships, and the other guy that I decided felt comfortable enough for me to talk to, who was going to get the click rate that I didn't like, but I liked him, was Ariel Helwani. And I really gave Ariel his chance to cut his teeth on somebody that was going to get him views, because UFC had blocked him. So I'm not at all here to ever take credit for Ariel, who's had a fantastic career.
He's done very well for himself.
Guy who says, I found him, but I trusted Ariel before anybody did.
All right. So at this point, and here, All you guys got to do is pull up any one of our 300 past episodes, and I guarantee there's a lot of mistakes on my end. So for me to sit here and go, but at this time, Ariel was just cutting his teeth. Like if you watch the pre-fight video with Nick Thompson when he was going to fight Jake Shields, he doesn't even know Bodog is an entity that has closed its doors.
No, that's what I'm saying. I took a chance on a novice kid.
That's what I'm saying.
I just knew. Yeah. I didn't know now, but I know. I'm looking back and I go, smart, Jared. Like I understood what now would be the right type of reporter that you would want. You need a cutting edge kid who's making a thing, who's making a little bit of money. Like it fits today's world.
Yeah, and look at him now. And that's I think that's kind of what I'm pushing forward. Ariel was just coming into his own, and you saw it before. I mean, dude, if you look at it, I've saved this video and I watch it because of how just like Ariel's like, oh fuck, I didn't even know one of the biggest organizations in the world at this time hasn't done an event in a year and it's actually closed.
Right.
But you knew he was going to go somewhere. He just needed a polish. You need a little polish. What the fuck? I mean, watch episode number 1 for me. Like I can't throw shade on a guy.
Grind mentality.
Yeah.
Grind mentality. Like I always tell people about Jake Paul. Jake Paul deserves everything that's coming to him. You know how hard it is to be an influencer and cut your own videos and edit your own videos. Like I think I'm a pretty social person, but I've never taken on another social like influencing persona because that seemed like a lot of work that is beyond my elder years, right, Mike? Like, but like these kids that grind, and Ariel was just a new young version of everybody that exists now. And yeah, he had a great career. Yeah. So those are the two people I trusted. I used that knife strongly, and
he did well.
Yeah. And
it saved you. It saved you.
KJ, as I told you in the past episode, was an unfortunate victim of my my professional creative ability to go after something justly in a promotional way. I used the press to attack my own fighter because my own fighter was trying to have a bullshit contract negotiation. So I weakened his front by
who's this? Which fighter?
KJ Nunes.
KJ. Oh yeah. Okay.
Mark Dion was being a prick about a new contract. It's like, oh, you won the championship and now you think you control everything. Now you think you wrangle our balls.
Yeah, I want 10 million. Yeah,
exactly. No, outrageous. Like, oh,
yeah. I mean, that's what he was asking.
You're holding my shit hostage. We have a fight with Nick Brewing. Like, you're going to be a nightmare. That's when Chuck's like, Jared, go to work. He literally said, Jared, go to work. And that is when Jeremy was going to start losing more clout as to who controlled everything, even in a public eye, which was going to give me power I needed behind the scenes to keep pushing forefront.
Was it the asking price? Did they want 10 million? Was that, I heard that was being thrown around, but that was kind of,
I don't know if it was that, but the number was just
ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
It was like, what are we even discussing here?
So Joey, if you go through our archives and look up the word Mark Dion, one, he's passed. He was also one of the founding fathers of City Kickboxing. And whenever his name gets brought up from somebody from that, it's, well, he's not here, so I'd prefer not to say. You know what I mean? Right. It's always kind of like, whoa. Like, and then Joey, you and I respond with, that bad? And they're like, yeah. And like he did it to everybody, including internally.
Yes, and I feel bad because it's not the fighter, it's the manager, but the fighter let him in the ear. And unfortunately, I was going to,
even KJ Nunes. What did KJ Nunes say about him, Joey?
What?
We interviewed KJ.
I think he said something like Dion's Dion and he's going to be Dion. He was very vague about it.
Jared, when somebody goes, somebody is somebody and he kind of use their own name, essentially it means they're an asshole.
It means I can't think of something good to say.
It wasn't working in the best interest of the fighter, Mike. That's the whole point. Like the best interest of the fighter is to keep building this fighter. And if you want to negotiate out of like something that helps the company continue to build them, not think that you hit the jackpot and then you're going to rob everyone blind, or you're going to hold up consistent fighting and all the other issues. So that's when I went, I think it was with Damon. I don't remember. They asked me, hey, Jared, what are you doing? I said, sitting here, drinking a milk of an empty carton and with KJ Nunes' face missing on the back because I'm missing a fighter in action. And that started a war.
Yeah.
with them.
So
That was my portrayal. He was going to be the fighter that didn't want to fight Nick.
Yeah. So Joey, here's the thing. Let's just say, all right, we're holding EliteXC hostage. What do you think they would have gotten from the UFC? They wouldn't have gotten anywhere near the contract that they were receiving from EliteXC. They were maxed out on pay.
Unless UFC just felt like this is a way to stick it to Elite,
Right.
Yeah, but then they
weren't above spending money to screw you.
Yeah, but then they get that fighter beat by like an Olympic level wrestler, and then all right, you're gone. You get one payday out of them.
Yeah. Of course. And Mike, because we went full circle from the Hawaii card, when I dropped that news on you that I wasn't there, to bring it all together was the moment I got right back in the door that Jeremy thought he closed on me when I didn't go to Hawaii. Because number one, my father calling Chuck anyway. Look what a fucking shit show you guys have now. I'm not there. I'm not there. Jared's not there. It's an embarrassment. Okay. 1, 2, we have a KJ Noons problem. Chuck needs me to talk. Mm-hmm. That's how I got my power. My power was about when my dad left. I think it's Jeremy, of course. I think whatever happened, everyone thought I had a power outage. And then they gave me the knife and I got right back in the fight. And then I fought until we all went down together.
You know what's fucked up, Joey? Like, truth be told, you've got to get that foundation settled. Like, the team can't be working individually. Like, if they're working together, EliteXC explodes. But if there's people working individually, that's kind of like you have to work together. You got to, even if somebody's really talented, if they're not willing to work with other people, they got to go.
Yeah. And it's because
in this industry,
JD, Rich, and I work so well together that the fighting and what you guys saw never took any of the problem that was happening outside of that inside to the octagon, or we're not an octagon, but our ring, our cage.
Yeah.
Because the fighting was inner and you didn't know about it publicly because we were so strong fluidly in matchmaking.
And that's a testament to JD and Rich, because those two had worked together for years. You were kind of the odd man out. Welcome to the room. And you guys, sometimes, no, you guys aren't leaving here until you figure this out. But it seemed as if you guys gelled like immediately.
I trusted them to present me with fighters that I was not knowing or privy to yet, or relationships. And they trusted me to help make a decision along with them as a unified front that this made good for TV and this made good and that this would help bring in the right fighter that we could rise with or whatever. And then we would present that to my father.
But here, you would speak a language that they couldn't. Hey, Dad, you remember this boxer from the 70s that did this, this, and this? It's going to kind of ride that same career path, and you would allow him to cross the finish line. That's what you would do. And they couldn't speak that language.
Correct.
It's a fucking.
I didn't walk into MMA with a Rolodex that was MMA related. I walked in with a great position to learn on the fly, however I could adapt. And I adapted quickly because I'm a fight guy. And I got 2 great assets, amazing assets.
Yeah.
JD and Rich, who we were the Bradas. We were the Bradas. We all loved each other. So like, it was just like, let's just go make great fucking fights. And like, there's no egos here. Who cares who finds the fighter or brings the fighter? Like, we're just fucking presenting a great card for our fans and building EliteXC. And then Jeremy was somebody who wanted power, and I was somebody who don't like people like that, period. So of course you're going to rub me wrong anyway. And you're not going to rob me of the thing that I've done my whole life, which is be next to my dad and listen and learn and grow into a position. You're either going to come in and share properly, or if you try to box me out, I'm going to push back.
You have to. Otherwise, no one would respect you.
So my pushback was, fuck you out of the matchmaking world. You're not part of us. That was how I did that.
But Jared, like, if you didn't do that, no one would respect you, including him.
Of course. And it's nepotism. It's not like I'm already not fighting it throughout a company in all different sides of the company that don't even do fight world, that don't even know what it is I do or don't do, you know, or what my talents are, or the fact that like certain money gets made public and like certain people know that I'm an executive and I'm paid well, you know, like they look at you funny. And that's why it's like, I think that's why I love aloofness. Like, I'm not aloof. It's what you do to protect your own self from the reality of like, I don't feel like fighting all these stupid uphill
scumbags.
Yeah, waste of time.
Let me kind of paint this a little. So Joey, you got to look at it this way. The amount of shit that he's taking, like online, is it's unprecedented.
Yep.
But if I'm JD and I'm Rich Chow, I'm thinking, you know what, man? It's actually, if he wasn't taking this right now, it would be thrown on our lap.
Yes.
and to be honest with you, you were acting as a shield for them.
Yes. Yes. And I'm a good shield. I'm a good shield. I can handle it.
And I think in exchange for that, I think they were open, honest, and good to you as well. And just go, no, forget it. If you're going to be the shield, then we got to be a team.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Look, at the end of the day, life is chess, and I'm a pawn if the fucking king is my father. And so anybody who's going to come in direction with me is going to see me as some sort of advancement for themselves, but it doesn't mean I treat them that way. I still open myself up honestly and lovingly to many people. And I do believe that some of them, even if had ulterior motives or to help themselves, are truly love me or appreciate me. And those are the relationships you have. And I think that's what any real man does. He's honest with himself about every situation. And why would I not expect anyone else to try to look at me like help for them to help massage the decision making? And maybe that was part of it, but I don't think any of it was ever malicious. I think in that situation, it was really perfect harmony. Sometimes you get that. Sometimes you throw three guys together who really, really kind of gel, and they don't even have to all be the same.
They don't even know each other. Yeah, sometimes
they
don't even have to know each other.
Yeah.
It's just they all got to be on the same page.
Yeah. And then the same version, you could throw a guy like Jeremy in there, and I didn't gel with him. So it's not. This isn't like some fake shit. It's like, hey, you throw 6 people in, I may mix with 3 or 5 of them. You know, maybe I don't mix with all 6 of them, but doesn't mean any of them had an ulterior motive to it. It was like it was still going to be like there was enough power in my position to warrant that they were going to give me the fair opportunity to even.
Hey, dude, Joey, you think about this. This is like Game of Thrones. So now, you got to remember, Jeremy Lappin is now kind of telling them, look what I did. Yeah. And trying to intimidate them or intimidate his way into that room. Mm-hmm. And Jared's got to say, hey, man, are we a team or are we not?
Right.
Yeah. They showed him that
he would we'd have matchmaking boards. He kind of meddle in them. He thinks he was already trying to make deals for the network, like the fights that were going to lock us up into like what we could pick or what couldn't pick, as if like you're going to tell me what we can do or not do. Go back to your lane, you know? So, you signed. Hey, you bring a fighter, you signed him because you have his connection. Great. Now he's in our possession.
Joey, look at some of the other fighters on that card. Did you pull it up?
Hang on.
It's phenomenal. I think we're going to call this. It's June 14, 2008, Blaisdell, famous Hawaiian arena.
Oh, yeah, the Hawaiian one. Okay. Nick Diaz fights in the co-main event.
Dude, wait, Nick Diaz missed weight by like 9 pounds?
Really?
And I'm shocked that Scott Coker even allowed him into the ring.
Below that, we got Ninja Rua fighting Tony Bonello.
Jesus.
Another guy we resurrected.
Yes.
Very marketable.
Then you got Dave Herman versus Ron Waterman. We just have
Dave Herman is like the biggest miss in MMA because he's so like out there that people are afraid of him. They're like, oh, wait a minute, dude. He's kind of scary crazy.
Rafael Cavalcante gets a TKO win over Wayne Cole.
Phenomenal.
I like Rafael. I like
Yeah, that's a guy we got to look for. Yeah. Dude, it's great. It's great. It's a great card, dude. And you're packing places too. Yeah, you're at the Blaisdell. That's a Showtime card. Joey, this is where we leave off because after this, they go with the rematch on CBS with Robbie Lawler, Scott Smith. Lots of issues with Chuck Champion and the SEC filings. And then this next one, I think we can do with the Kimbo. Yeah, we get through it, dude. But it's too fucking good. Like,
This is the peak right here.
Here's the issue. Like if we had you on the first episode and we let you run, we wouldn't have this.
Right.
Yeah.
This is good shit, dude.
Yeah.
It's good. It's like
it's a lot of parts. Like I said, if you're trying to tell it right, it takes time to tell it. Yeah. And in parts for people to digest, because it's an unbelievable story unless it's told from the story from somebody who lived inside of it. Mm-hmm. Because even when you're talking it from someone who lived inside of it, there's no way anyone could even be like, there's no way that's real. They'd still have to
make him die in the end. Okay, Jared,
it's just like, it's so much fucking foolery that happened inside of so much amazingness.
Yeah, Jared, a backyard fighter from Miami that's in his 40s, and you guys are going to make him a superhero that gets like almost 7 million views on CBS. Oh, okay, Jared. Okay. Oh, you're telling that story again. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Which nowadays, people be like, well, that's not a guy with enough views for you to do that. You're going to need a guy with 200 million.
Right.
Like,
okay.
We started a trend that Mr. Beast is now got his own candy bars.
So like when I explained to my 18-year-old, she's like, yeah, that 6.5 million is good, but like what? I go, no, that was 6.5 million at the same exact time.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like 120 million, over time. Like 6.5 million's on a live. That's right. That's kind of how I break it down. Let's just say you go live and there's 6.5 million people watching. Oh.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's kind of like the language you got to speak. Anyway, Jared, one day there's going to be a movie made about this, and it's got to be done right. It's got to be done. So Icy Mike, they're doing a documentary on Kimbo. Did you get interviewed for that?
I did not.
Are you friends with Icy Mike?
Yeah, we're very close, but we haven't spoke in a long time. But it's easy for me to call him or text him, and like it's all love. Like yes, I'm connected to Mike, and it's funny because I'm in Florida and I'm not far from him, but it's just like you
need to be on that documentary, dude. You need to be on that documentary.
But but to me, I don't need to be. I just want it to be made because I love Ferg so much, and I want his story to be told, and I want it to be told a million times, and I want it to keep going over every generation because I love Kimbo because he was such a unique personality. Yeah. And even like I'm close to Tyson, I'm close to Holyfield. I've been around so many fighters in my life, but Ferg was so unique. Kimbo was so unique.
That speaks volumes of Kimbo. Like it really does. Like if you think about it,
because he's not the best fighter I've been around in my life. No. Not even close. They're lightweight fighters that are better fighters, but ultimately, he was the coolest looking
realist, the realist
motherfucker.
Give me my bread.
He loved me, bro. We loved each other. It was like a fucking brotherhood bond. Like. Yeah, I smoked weed with him, like that was my guy. Like, let's be real. That was my guy. And it was cool to be around somebody where you can forever wonder what would have happened if you got him when he was 20. The ability was there. The balls to fight was there. The rest would have been about enough years to teach and stamina and building. And he could have been a really ferocious heavyweight world championship boxer. I truly believe it because he
shovel left hook. His shovel left hook was phenomenal.
He possessed the bob and weave discipline to make up for the questionable chin, that the movement and the speed of it would create the velocity that he also had God-given hand power, right? Yeah. You got the power, you don't have it. Golovkin followed my hand, man. It's big hands. These guys have big hands. He had the power.
He always ended with the left hook, but it was like, it was hidden. Like, all right, let's just say that maybe 1 and 2 might not have been the prettiest, but that number 3, it was hard to see. It was hard to see.
He punches hard.
Yeah, that number 3, it was always like, boom, boom, okay, don't. It was like a real tight. Oh,
I tell you one thing that amazing. I'll never forget. In our heyday, Kimbo's blowing up, and we get a call from my ex-girlfriend. Actually, she's the executive producer for the David Blaine show. And David,
magic show. Okay.
And David wants Kimbo to punch him in the stomach for his new show on ABC that he's doing. And I'm like, that sounds dope. Amazing. So we had Blaine come down and shoot this at Boss's gym and Randy Katami's gym, and Kimbo hit him as hard as he could, and he took it. It was nothing fake about it. And in that moment, I said to myself, like, wait, is Kimbo as strong as he is? Like, wait, why did we kill that guy? But truth is, Blaine just had a technique to like take the punch in a millisecond that didn't look like it. Because Kimbo's like, I hit him as hard as he. Kimbo was so beaten down on himself. I'm like, Kimbo, I'm telling you, man, it's not like just hitting anyone else. He wouldn't have done it unless he thought he had a technique to it. But it was an amazing trick or a real life situation. And it was just a fond memory. We were just talking about Kimbo and you were talking about punching. I just thought about how I remember this one time when he punched Blaine and I'm like, wait, what's wrong?
They should have went to the liver. Hey, Kimbo, get the liver. Get the livers.
Obviously, he didn't throw the right punch for sure. But that's the point. I don't even think Kimbo knew how to throw the right punches, even when he was fighting. I don't think he was fully trained yet as a like the level he could have got to if we got him when he was younger to build him into a fighter would have been a really, really interesting thought of what he could be. You know, I'm not going to say he would have been this. He would interesting to think with more training because he was already had such brute strength and he had just street fighting mentality that he was going to beat you for the fights he was in, even if he wasn't the most finely tuned, stand-up fighter.
Dude, he made a lot of money as a not so polished fighter. I mean, think of what he would have done as a polished one,
Of course.
Jared Shaw, absolute play. Man, dude, I can't wait to meet you in Miami.
Appreciate you guys.
Next time we're going down there, you and I are grabbing lunch.
Let me know, Mike.
100%.
Take care, Joey. Take care, guys.
See you, Jared. Thank you.
Dude, here's the thing.
I love these. These are good.
I love Battlecade.
Me too.
I love WCC. I really enjoyed. I didn't love, but I enjoyed the IFL.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Affliction, and I loved EliteXC.
Yeah. You like cheering for the underdogs.
Yeah.
And this is the one time the underdog had the champ on the ropes. No, when he said that the whole thing was like a Ponzi scheme that just happened to be successful. Did you ever see the Mel Brooks movie, The Producers?
No.
It was a huge hit, and that was the entire premise of it. Is they were trying to do a Ponzi scheme and accidentally created a hit. And it's a funny
I can kind of say this here, but also we had a guest that's in federal prison. I don't want to say names. The only guest we've ever had that's from federal prison. I believe he also was doing that with businesses to wash money. And then like the businesses started turning a profit. And then it was like, holy shit. Like they were accidentally starting businesses that made money.
the old dude steakhouse.
Yeah. Out of Texas.
Yeah. But we're not going to say who it was though.
His ex-wife's been calling me.
Yeah, he's been texting me late at night.
Dude, his ex-wife, I shouldn't say calling. His ex-wife's going to call me.
Yeah.
She wants to lay into him. Really, she wants
do the tell-all.
And I'm just like, she's like, well, I can't be recorded. I'm like, of course it's not going to be recorded. Like what was he selling steroids? Yeah, no shit. Oh, was he selling, drugs? I would hope so. He had his own private jet. I would hope so. You know what I mean? And he was a womanizer. Well, it's kind of,
I kind of assumed
made
that
him the best of the party. Yeah.
Why else would you get a jet? You could just fly first class. You got the jet because you're trying to show off for the ladies.
So